Welcome to A-Level Physics at Crystalton High School. I am Mrs. Roberts and I am Head of Science as well as Head of Physics, and I also am assisted in teaching A-Level Physics by Mr. Seller and Dr. Dowsett. At Crystalton, we offer AQA A-Level Physics, code 7408. Now, this specification just started in September 2015, and the core content is largely pure physics. It is a linear course, so it's not modular, so all the A-level exams are at the end of year 13, and it does have a very high mathematical demand. In terms of practicals, there are 6 required practicals for AS and 12 required practicals for the full A-level, and those are examined in the theory papers at the end, and students are awarded what's called a practical endorsement, as well as their final grade for A-level physics. In year 12, you will study these topics, so from AS, particles and radiation, waves and optics, mechanics and materials and electricity. If you're just doing AS, that is where you will stop, but we will also teach you motion in a circle and simple harmonic motion, which is from the A2 or year 13 course. Now, these topics form the content for paper 1 for the final exam for the full A-level. In year 13, you go on to these topics, which are more conceptual in terms of their demand. So you will learn about thermal physics, gases, different types of fields, capacitors, electromagnetic induction, and nuclear physics. That forms the core content. Now, those topics are in the main examined on paper 2, but you can be asked content from AS on paper 2 as well. Now, there is a third paper, which is the option and practical paper split into 2 sections. And options that we have offered so far at this school are astrophysics, medical physics, and engineering physics. What we do is we discuss with year 13 around mock time, Christmas time of year 13, which option they would like to consider taking. And then we work with the students that we've got in the class at the time. More recently, students have opted for just doing astrophysics, but for one particularly large cohort, we did offer all 3. So again, we tailor it to the students that are in front of us at the time. There are 2 other options that we've never actually offered in this school called Turning Points in Physics and Electronics, but we find the 3 that we can offer offers more than enough choice. In terms of assessment, so this is the A2 assessment. For paper 1, as I've said, it's all the topics that I discussed on the year 12 slide. The exam is 2 hours long and it covers 34% of the A-level. And it's a mixture of short and long questions and multiple choice questions. And paper 2 has a similar structure, but it focuses more on the A2 topics, but there is assumed knowledge from the AS paper. Now, paper 3, as I've said, is split into 2 sections. There's a compulsory practical skills and data analysis section, which all the students do. And then section B, students will get whichever option they have opted for. So they will potentially be sitting different papers for section B. Now, why should you choose to study physics at A-level? Now, you will be the type of person that's always asking why things happen. Hopefully you've enjoyed physics at GCSE level. I would always recommend you choose A-levels that you've enjoyed lower down the school. You might need it for your career plans. And you might also really like maths and want to use your math skills in a more practical, applied way. You might want to gain highly transferable skills. Physics is very challenging and it teaches you lots of skills such as problem solving, logical thinking, teamwork, independence, etc. And you might want to study what's called a facilitating subject. So it's a subject that's highly respected by universities and is often as a requirement for many courses. And the final thing is you like a challenge. As I've said, it is a very challenging A-level. It teaches you to think in a very critical way, looking at things, synthesizing material from different parts of the course to solve problems. Now, what do you need to be able to study A-level physics? Right, you need to be very logical and numerate. You need to be able to have high math skills. You need to enjoy the challenge of solving problems. You will hit lots of walls when you're trying to solve physics problems. There are often a number of routes you can choose to go down, and you might go down one route and find that that's not the way to go. So you have to go back to the beginning and start again. You need to have perseverance, therefore, to get to the end solution. You need to be a team player because obviously it helps if you can discuss problems with other people and work together to solve them, but you also need to be very independent and self-motivated because a lot of success at physics comes from practicing questions outside of the lesson. Now, the actual requirements to get onto the course are a grade 6/6 in combined science or a grade 6 in GCSE physics from the triple subjects. Now, we also want you to have a high grade 5 in GCSE maths and have sat the higher tier, and also 6 or higher would be preferable because of the high demand of the mathematical content. In the previous course, we did ask for a B grade, which equates to a 6. We have adjusted that slightly for this course, but you really need to have good mathematical skills to be able to cope with the A-level physics course. Now, strangely, we would also like, or you might think strangely, a grade 6 in English language, but again, that's preferred, it's not a requirement. It's just that sometimes some students can have a lot of difficulty in understanding what the question's actually asking them because the language content is quite high. Now, in terms of maths, you need to be very confident and competent at algebra and trigonometry. Now, these are the types of courses where physics is required or recommended. So these are all the types of things that most of the students will go into. So medicine is one. It sounds a bit strange, but medicine will often ask for chemistry or biology and another science, which includes physics and maths. So physics can be used as a second science when applying to medicine. Engineering, fairly obviously, and that's where a lot of students do lean towards, and a lot of students do go into maths because that's their preferred destination, and physics goes very well with maths and further maths. Computer science, business and finance degrees, I think the skills that you learn in physics will really help you with that type of degree, and natural science degrees. So you can use it to support applications to other sciences as well. What will you get from us? Well, we've got an online textbook. We've got other online resources that we guide students towards. You get regular homework and deadlines. The staff are very keen, and we provide a lot of support for students on one-to-one basis. Now, in ideal circumstances, we would run a Tuesday after school physics club. Obviously, given the current situation, that isn't occurring this year, but obviously we would hope to have it in place for next year. We also do a lot of question paper analysis to help target revision, and we try and provide a variety of approaches to learning to suit individual students. We also provide intervention if you're not performing to the level that you would like to or we would like you to. So you might get a special invite to Tuesday Physics Club. In terms of extracurricular activities, we've run trips to Alton Towers. We had a Formula One day where we went to change wheels on Formula One cars. We keep a lookout for university lecture days. We've taken part in Liverpool Physics Olympics, which is an annual thing. And also we have visited CERN in Geneva, so the Large Hadron Collider. So if you have a look here, here's some photographs from the CERN visit. This was our first one in 2017. So we've done them in 2018, 2019. We didn't run one this year for obvious reasons, but also we actually chose not to run one. So it's going to become now a biannual event, so that hopefully all A-level physics students get the opportunity to go at some point during their course. If you look up here, there is a link to a video that a student in 2018 made completely independently and put onto YouTube about our trip. Now, common misconceptions for physics. Right, some people are worried that they have to memorise a long list of formulas, especially since GCSEs had that requirement. You get a massive formula sheet, so and we encourage you to use that from day one, so you really get to know what's where on that. So it's all about applying the formula. You need to do A-level maths to do well. Now, it does really help to do A-level maths because you're just doing more mathsy type work all the time, and it keeps those skills sharp. But you can do A-level physics without doing A-level maths. But you might have to work a little bit more at some of the maths content of physics than maybe the mathematicians do because they're doing it in another subject. Another common misconception is that it's impossible. And physics is a really hard A-level, but a really enjoyable one. I often ask students why they choose physics because it is quite hard, and they say because they like a challenge. And we have found that students who persist, who work hard and keep going, their grades will just shoot upwards when we get into year 13. So, that persistence and that ability to apply yourself will really come in handy in future life. Okay, in terms of careers, I mean, we've covered that a little bit in terms of the requirements for university. You can see here that this was a study done a while ago, and basically this is where physics took a lot of people. So as you would perhaps expect, engineering, computer science, etc., STEM subjects, that is mainly where sort of physicists go. But other people go into things like law, etc., because the logical thinking skills that you get with physics apply in many, many areas. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this. If you are in Christleton High School currently in year 11, then do speak to your sort of science teacher, especially your physics teacher, or come and find myself to have a chat about whether A-level physics is right for you. If you're not in Christleton High School, then by all means, drop a query into me at the school, and I will try and answer that as best as I can.